All right, folks, welcome back to yet another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. The topic this week is slash was power, and as laid down by the missing in action and now found in action, Mr. Troy Miller. Troy's back. Troy's back from the woods with all his limbs
Yeah, a
intact.
little bit.
Welcome back, man. Welcome back. How's it going?
Good. It's good.
Yeah. No. So okay. Before we get started, tell me about the adventure of Troy in the woods. You see, I had to channel you. I got your headgear on.
Yeah.
I got the glasses on. I'm trying to channel Troy Miller here. So how was it?
No,
How was your time away?
it was great. It was super good. I mean, we took a week off during Thanksgiving. We went to Mammoth, and so we did some mountain biking and some trail hiking and chasing the moon. Just so happened that a full moon correlated with our little trip, so we chased the full moon around Moto Lake. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Just get outside,
I
So
know.
I
I
miss it
know.
already.
I know, man. To get away from all this insanity that's going on in the real world. Did you tell me this? Did you unplug? Did you like cut off technology, not watch any news, and just enjoy the woods?
For the most part, yeah. When we got back, I mean, the days end early, so sunsets at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So by the time the sunset, we came back. But I really didn't do much except I did a little bit of editing. I hopped on the member mixer, on Friday.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, we were pretty much disconnected. I didn't really even look at my files until I got home. So
You sound so much more relaxed, man. What is going on? You sound like Zen.
yeah.
Uh,
It's just I love the outdoors, and I just don't get to
yeah.
spend enough time, in nature doing stuff. So this definitely reminded me how much more I need to get outside. So
Yeah. Well, speaking of unnatural, I pulled the trigger finally and got one of these
oh,
things.
ooh, you mean one of these things?
Yes. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I got it. So this is the 12 Pro Max 5
Yep.
512. So this is state of the art Apple right now. I just got it
Yep.
yesterday. Transferred all my brains from the old quote old phone into this one. You want to hear my first impressions of this phone? So
Yeah,
this
of course.
first impressions of this phone are it's beautiful. It is a literal work of art. It looks like something that you see in an expensive store that you can't afford. You look through the window and you see this thing, you're like, one day I'll be able to afford it. There's a but. Do you sense a but coming? There is a but. There is a but.
There's
So
no
this
but. There's no but.
well, I'm hoping you can convince me because I want to preface this with this is my first. These are the first daylight hours that I've owned this phone, so I haven't taken out and done any
Oh, okay.
photography or anything with it. So all this is just first impressions. The migration process gets better and better every time Apple releases a new phone. So everything's
Right.
in here now. I just had to go through the tap dance of adding my credit cards into Apple Pay and all that stuff and some passwords. But other than that, this is my old phone now, and the other one's turned off. Everything you've read about this phone and everything that you think about this phone, Troy, is true. The negatives are I feel like I want to go back to the Apple store and really try out the size smaller than this one. So my previous phone, this one was also a Max, so they're very similar in size. This one's slightly bigger, but I'm wondering. It feels good in my hand, but I'm wondering, will the smaller one feel better, or will I feel somehow inadequate if I get? I don't know. I don't know. So I love it so far. I mean, other than as you can see, I mean, look at this. You've seen this, right? Uh, the fingerprints on the edge, that
That's
thing.
what cases
So
are for.
that's exactly why I have a case. But then I have this case, and I look at this. I'm like, I spend all that money for this beautiful piece of art. Let me put some plastic on my furniture, right? It doesn't feel
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll let it go out when I want to impress people. I'll take its clothes off. You know, but normally it'll go out like just fully clothed and ready to go. So I don't know. So
I
I think I want to go to the store and hold the smaller one. I don't know.
No, I love this size. I think it's perfect, especially because of the lenses, the cameras on the back. I
Yeah.
mean, the cameras are amazing. The wide angle is amazing. The low light photography with these thing is amazing. It's truly better. I mean, this is better than what I used to shoot weddings with by far.
Really?
I have like a whole
Oh,
camera bag
I know
right
it's
here.
crazy. And Dolby,
Yeah,
what does it have? It's got it can wait what something ridiculous
it can
video
shoot in
that I'm not going to use, but
yeah
it's yeah.
HD. It can shoot in HD 4K.
4K. Yeah, well
So
the other one could too, but this one can
not
shoot
an HD
in.
though.
What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, you mean HDR? Is that what you're saying? Not HD.
Yeah.
HD is 1080.
Well, it's
Oh,
got
yes. Thank
a
you,
I
Steven.
don't know.
4K 60p. Thank you. That's what we're talking about. 4K 60p.
But it also has the ability to shoot in a wider dynamic range than what it did before.
But better than the other one though. So why did
Yeah.
you choose the largest phone over the kind of Goldilocks middle phone?
I don't like the small phones. I like how this one feels in my hand, and then especially when I put a case on it, it's a lot easier for me to hold. And if I'm
Hmm.
going to spend this kind of money on a phone, I don't want to drop it. So if it's small, I'm going to drop it. And because I do a lot of work in the garage, it's always in my pocket, or I got to pull it out with gloves. So I really like the size.
Love
So
it. All right. Well, cool.
and the small
Well,
one
we'll see.
doesn't have the cameras. The small one has only two cameras. It doesn't have the three lenses. It only has two.
Oh, that's true. I didn't know that. It also doesn't have image stabilization, hardware image stabilization. So,
Right. Yeah. I love it.
Okay.
I couldn't be more excited about it, to be honest. I think
Really?
it's fantastic. I
So
dig
I
it.
should
Oh
keep it.
yeah. Yeah.
I should keep it.
I dig it.
The woman at the Apple store said because of the thing that shall not be mentioned, they are extending their return policy through January 8th for all purchases that
Mhm.
happen now. So this guy, oh, you know what? I wanted to ask you before we get started with the critique. Your what do you use for your charging? Like what inductive charging accessories did you buy?
I don't use any inductive charging. I plug it in because
You're so
it's
old
just a lot
school.
faster. No, and look, there's a good reason why. And I have a unique situation.
All right,
Is
do
as you
tell.
know, as a lot of you guys know, is I do a lot of fabricating in a lot of metal fabricating, which creates metal filings, which are attracted to magnets. So already I
Mm.
have to be super careful. This thing had metal shavings on the back of it the other day, just out of my pocket. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
trying to stay away from any kind of inductive charging, I've got to be really careful. Even plugging it in, and maybe a good inductive charger would be smarter because I don't want to get metal shavings in the plug. So
That could end
I
badly.
gotta be really, I know. So I gotta be really smart about it. So um I do have an Anchor. I just noticed I have an Anchor stand-up stand over here that I actually put my AirPods on to charge. So
Yeah.
I can lean it up against that. But I haven't really dived into any of that. Although it'd be cool to have a
Interesting.
magnet mount like right
That's what I'm
there
saying.
next to me.
I want that peak. I want that peak design mobile accessory kit with all their MagSafe accessories. Now that I'm in that world. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's move on with this. It's just so see we haven't caught up in a long time. We have to catch up.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. I know. 2 weeks feels like forever.
I know what's going on. So in the chat, who's going on? Who's in the chat? We've got good old Steven Sharf is in there. Steven says beanies. Yes, it is the beanie show, my friend. Hey, this is what we do. I see an idea and I copy it. It's like Microsoft. Good dogs in the chat. What's up, man? Ginger Bearding's in the house. What's going on? Who else is in here? Yeah, low bass guy. What up, low bass guy? Low bass guy's in the house right now. F stop
F stop
Dave.
Dave.
F stop Dave is hanging out with us. Work Picks is here, being incognito. Look at that. Say Troy's gonna, yeah, no, Troy's gonna be responsible for wedding photographers running around with iPhones and beanies. Like it's gonna be the Troy Miller flow. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I'll tell you, if you haven't, if you have any phone that's an iPhone 10 or 11, you were impressed with the camera. The difference between those and the 12 is night and day. It's huge. I mean, do go out and do some low light stuff. I just did a shot in my backyard under the full moon, and it was just all in the phone. It's freaking amazing.
Okay. Have you shot Apple RAW
That
in it with the camera?
I haven't done that yet because I figure my phone I want it to be super easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love the idea of what the power of this thing is. And when we went to Mammoth, I didn't have my 12. Kira had hers, and so I had her take a bunch of the photos and shoot video because they were so much better than my 11. Um, it's just that good, and
Okay. All right.
even just for the photography aspect of it, like
Hey,
it's really worth
one of
it.
one of my gifts for my birthday was the Osmo. The I got the pocket, but also the handheld one that you snap your phone into, the Osmo Mobile. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking between the superpowers that this phone has, the superpowers that thing has, there's one thing that I need to
Right.
solve, and that's audio. But I'm working on that. So could be good. All right. Hey, F-Stop Dave says his 12 shows up today, waiting for FedEx. Yeah, yeah. It's the Pavlovian squeaky brake response, right? I heard the
I,
squeaky
you
brakes.
know,
It must be FedEx.
I always get the new phones because it's the one piece of equipment that I use more than anything else ever. And I remember I read an article where a guy was talking about basically like, is it worth spending the money to upgrade your phone? And he's like, what other piece of equipment do you have on you? 12 hours or 23 hours out of every 24-hour day that you rely on for communication, for information. Like it's literally the most important piece of equipment that I have,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know? And and so why not? I mean, I'm going to grab this before I grab my camera bag
Yeah,
because I can replace all my camera stuff. This is going to get me a phone call to the police or rescue or what I mean, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's like if you need a pacemaker, are you gonna buy a cheap pacemaker? Or are you gonna buy the best one that you can afford? Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. It's life and death.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
I don't have
You
a
ready
case
to?
yet, so I'm waiting on my case.
Oh, you don't have this case, really? Oh,
No, no, I
really?
ordered the wrong size.
Oh, did you get the silicon one or leather?
Well, you can't get a silicone one in the Pro Max. You can only get a silicone one in the Pro, not the Pro Max. And I ordered the
What is
leather
this?
one for me.
I'm sorry, but
That's
what is
not
this?
silicone.
That is silicon.
Well,
That is
is it?
100% silicon, buddy. Wait, let's focus. Yeah, that's silicon. Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. I didn't see it on
That,
the site, but
yeah,
I
dude.
ordered the wrong one.
Yeah. No, they have them. They have them because that's what I've had on my. That's what's on this phone. I've had them on my phones for literally since they started offering silicon. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
go
have
check
to
that out
look.
because it's really nice. I like it. All right, you ready to do this thing? You ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me switch over to TWiP Pro here. All right, so we are in the community. Let's go dive into our groups area and pay no attention to the Insiders Club. We'll go
Or
into
pay attention.
exactly. It's called classic baiting. Date created. We'll sort that. All right, here we go. First up is Low Base Guy. The ocean is full of powerful animals. All right, here we go. Let's bring this
Nice.
guy up. Look at that. This is different from the normal animals that Joshua shoots, right? Reptilian
Yeah.
or insects.
Yeah, yeah, I really dig it. I like it against the black. I think that's really nice. I think this is a sort of a style that Joshua's been working on, which I really appreciate. I think that it's very minimalistic, it's simple, it's clean. Um, I really enjoy the feel. I do kind of feel like it's a little tight on the
Mhm.
ends. You know, the tail
Mhm.
is really, really tight against the frame. I
Yeah.
feel like it would be really easy to add some space there to sort of balance it.
Yeah, it's black, right?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This could doesn't need this doesn't need a lot of space around it, but having it balanced in the frame, I think would
Mhm.
do a lot for me.
Yep.
Um,
I would have said the exact same thing. Yeah, add a little space on there. I like the fact that we're losing detail in here. I mean, obviously that's intentional. Um, but the face here, I feel myself wanting to see a little bit more of the angry mouth that's on the shark, or what appears to be an angry mouth on the shark, and
right.
more of its face. So, maybe dodging that just to bring it out just a little bit more, just to match kind of the illumination that we have on the backside of the fish. So I feel like I'm losing him a little bit in the foreground. And, and also the dorsal fin here, which is the signature shark thing. I want to see that just a little bit more. I get the moody darkness, but just a little bit more on that would have been cool. I like it.
Right, right. And I think the highlight, whether it's, because of Mighty Network or if it's been crushed a little bit, but I feel the highlight on the back part of the fish is or the shark is a little too bright. And so I
Oh,
wish
here,
that
yeah,
tonality was brought down. I'm okay with everything being dark and mysterious. It's just that highlight is so overpowering. It's really the first thing that we see.
yeah, yep. Cool
But I
shot though.
like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I like this technique and I like this style that Joshua's been doing with his stuff. So I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you, Joshua, for that shot. And next up is Mr. Mark Harris. Mark Harris says, he says a lot. I'm going to read the first paragraph. For the power topic, I've been photographing a local nonprofit dance company. A week after doing a performance in our parking deck, we went back there and did a group of individual photographs. He's got some background on the dance down here, so you guys can read that. Let's take a look at the shot on its merits. All right. Definitely power. I
Yeah,
wouldn't want to
really.
be on the receiving end of that kick.
No, no, definitely not. With the first thing that I thought about when I saw this image was black and white.
Mm.
And I
Hmm.
because for me, I think that the shape and the form is really where the power of this comes through. And I think that bringing the tone down, letting the shadows go a little bit darker, letting the light that's coming in from camera right really really play across the model or the dancer would really increase a lot of drama.
Yeah.
But I love the timing. I really love the timing.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is definitely that Cartier-Bresson decisive moment, peak action with some motion blur, some it looks like intentional motion blur in there on the feet. Yeah, this shot hits it on a number of levels. I was looking at this shot and thinking, the first place my brain goes is to cropping. Like, is this cropped correctly?
Right.
Is it too close to one of the edges? Is it horizontal? All that's nailed. Even the space between the foot here and the side of the frame, you could say it's too close, but I don't think so. I think it's fine there. It adds a little bit of tension there, and she's moving into the frame in this direction, so there's more space on this side for her to move into. And then I was looking at the background, and I was like, are these elements distracting to me? I agree 100%. It could very easily be black and white and pop the blouse out and just make the whole thing kind of crisper. Um, but like this with these muted colors back there, I think they work pretty well. Especially with these sort
Hmm.
of geometric shapes and the triangles and rectangles back there. It almost looks like that's an intentionally painted background for a dancer type troupe type thing. So I think it works really well.
Yeah, no, it's really great. One suggestion that I would make is when you're getting ready to photograph something like this, is try to picture mentally what is going to interfere with your subject. To me, this shot looks like it was taking standing up, like you were standing there.
Hmm.
Where had you knelt down, you would have moved your subject up into the wall, and then they would have looked like they were much higher above the floor. The baseboard wouldn't have intersected with the foot, and that would have given you, I think, a much, much cleaner and much more powerful image.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. I like it. Very cool. And I love it. It's even got I don't know if this is mighty. I want to say that this is intentional, but it's got a slight cyan, I guess, kind of overall tint to the image, almost matrixy, right? So that the whole color palette that they use in Matrix, it's got a little bit of that in there. So it's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, no,
All
it's
right.
a great shot, great timing, well done, definitely well done.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you, Mark Harris. Chad is talking about this. Steven says it's slightly green. Let's bring it out. Yeah. Steven Sharp says it's slightly green. Low base guy says make it black and white on a black background. Yeah, okay. And Ginger Bearding says he likes the inserts of us on the screen with the little circles. I know. We were just
Yay. I like that. I like that photo over there.
exactly.
I don't have any room to move
Wait.
though. I
I
gotta be
know.
like I gotta be like this. I need bigger
So,
circle, Frederick. I need room to move.
I can do that. I can make it bigger right now if that suits you.
Don't. No, you're gonna break something. Don't do it.
I know. I'll just mess up the whole overlay system. All right. Yeah, this is kind of a house of cards over here, people. Armando's up next. Armando says, it was all the week thinking about putting an image with a man face, but I was not able to find in my HD something that was without doubt power. Okay, so I decided to go another way. Okay, cool. So he went literal. Let's take a look. See, that's cool. That is really cool. I like the layers of the brush or the forest in the middle. I like the different strata of the fiery sky, the power lines, and the kind of almost Japanese art looking trees at the bottom. What I don't like about this image is this guy right here photobombing the shot. I feel like he's messing it up for us. Not messing up the shot, but he could be easily gone, cropped out, or content awared out, or something out of there. And then it looks like some dodging and burning has been done on this area here to bring it down a little bit, or that's smoke or haze or something. But it's the fact that I see it is distracting me from the overall power of the image. I don't know. What do you think, Troy Miller?
No, I totally agree. I think that this image really needs to be cropped in. And I just realized now that we have the little image bubble of me, you can see me like doing my little croppy thing that I do in all the images. I would crop it halfway between the blurry bush on the left and the first tower on the left, and then do equal distance on the right, so that the towers are balanced left and right. And I would leave the foreground and the sky the same. Just really focus in on the graphical element of those towers.
Yeah.
I really dig that. Yeah, I think it's really good. I agree on the right. I can see that smoke or cloud in the distance. I do feel like there's some darkening in there, especially on the left next to the fuzzy bush. And
Yeah, right here.
it's kind of
And
killing
there's
it.
some and over here
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really both sides. It's getting me on both sides. So if you got rid of that, got rid of this bush, or just like you were saying, Troy, crop in so that we see. It's all about, these are our stars, right? These are the heroes
Right.
of the shot. Everyone else is a supporting character. So this guy's standing up in front of the movie in the theater. It's like
Yeah.
down in front.
Yeah, and I really feel like that the sky has been over enhanced
Mm-hmm.
with the orange color. And forgive me if it actually looked this way, but it doesn't feel natural to me. It feels like the really bright orange of the sky isn't showing up in the foreground. I think that would translate better into the smoke or the haze in the foreground. So I feel like there's been like a linear gradient or something added. It doesn't vibe,
Mm-hmm.
real
Mm-hmm.
well. I think that make the whole image a little bit more orange. And because I think that's what a sunset like this would do, the way it would affect the atmosphere. But I'm feeling it's a little disjointed for me, the way that it's in there right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's in the whole point of any kind of photo editing, for the most part, it's art, so you can do whatever the heck you want to do with it. But for the most part, with retouching, whether it's a person's face or a scenic like this, is to not draw attention to the fact that you've done stuff to the image. It should just feel like, oh, that guy's a great photographer, right? And he managed to capture
Right.
this scene. Yeah.
Right. Or if you're gonna manipulate the image, and we know, right? Like put a pterodactyl in there or whatever, it's got to be cohesive.
Yeah.
It's got to flow. The colors, the composition, the lines, those things should flow naturally, so that it doesn't feel disjointed. And if it is naturally, then fine. But I would still fix it. I would
Yeah.
change it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
That's
Good
what the
feedback.
beanie says. The beanie says fix it.
The beanie has spoken. You know, we should talk about that a little bit. Lamb posted an interesting article in the community about the usefulness and validity of photo critiques. I want to touch on that a little bit at the end, if I remember, because I'm old. James, James Glennie. Hey, I just had a birthday. I can say that. I'm embracing the decrepitness.
Yeah.
James Glennie says, high voltage, a very different kind of shot and subject from anything I've really done before, but I'm fairly happy with the results. It's nice to step outside my comfort zone once in a while. Absolutely, brother. Take a look at that. Yeah, like it. Thoughts? What do you think?
I'm really drawn to these type of images. I love the abstract, and I love when we get a piece of a thing, that is normal, but as it's photographed, it doesn't feel normal. Like I'm not quite sure. Is it a bridge? Is it a power line? A tower? Is it like a substation? Like I don't know. I don't know what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So I just wish that we didn't have this pure white background,
Oh,
which we can't
interesting.
always control.
What
Yeah,
would you want
yeah.
back there? Like some like clouds or brick, or like what would you want to see back there?
I would probably play with a little bit of cloud texture,
Mm.
something ever so subtle, like you almost wouldn't notice it. It's just not paper white, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
just not paper white. Something that gives us texture, especially because you have that trap at the top, right about 1 o'clock.
The
That's
what?
If that
This
was
strap
full of
here or this one?
that, yeah, that one right there. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The big one at the top.
Oh, this one.
I
Okay.
feel like Yeah, I feel like if there was structure in there, it would be perfect to have the white background and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's such a big opening, I want to see something in there,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
so that it's not just dead space. You know?
Yeah, or like a plane or something. I don't know.
I,
Something. Something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be a blurry bird. It could be a little bit of wispiness cloud. Just anything to give it something for your eyes to fall on, as opposed to this big gaping negative space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Lovely shot.
I do love
And
it. No, I really do. So as much as I critiqued it, I do dig it though. It's really nice.
yeah. Yep. Good job. Ginger bearding.
Ginger
All right.
bearding.
Next shot is from Nora Zanotinus. Nora's been joining us in our member mixers lately.
She has.
Look at that.
Bride in a
Oh,
dress.
yeah. Ginger bearding says bride in a dress in that void. Yeah. Let's see it. Do it. All right. Wait, did she say anything with this shot? She said launched Stellar Sea Eagle with catch. Let's take a look. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Look at that face right there. Look at that. Look
Yeah,
at that.
that's really impressive timing. The Eagle's just getting ready to do his little power stroke to pull out of that water. So really,
Right?
really great timing.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I would
Yep.
not want to be
Yeah.
that prey, whatever that is. Can you tell what that is? It's got to be a fish, right?
Yeah. Probably fish. I
Uh,
think she says in her description. Um, I think that the shutter speed is a little too slow, and we've gotten some movement even in the face, even in the eyes aren't quite sharp. And that's kind of a challenge. There's a little bit of motion blur everywhere in this image. However, the timing and the form and everything is just exquisite, and so I really like it. I really like it a
Yeah.
lot. I think it was a great capture, and
I
I
don't
would
mind a little bit of motion blur in the shot, just personally, because it's that's the way we would see it, and I feel like the face. Can you say a bird has a face? The face is is sharp enough for me, and I'm when I look at it, my brain fixates on just sort of capturing that power of like each one of these feathers is doing its job right now. I mean, look at the curl up on these feathers right here, right? I mean, they're doing what feathers are designed to do. Those talons are doing what talons are designed to do. This is just this bird is like, this is what I do. This is what I dive in. I get
yeah.
the fish. This is what I do all day long. And she captured that. I think it's really cool. Where I get a little bit lost in here is a lot going on in the shot. There's a lot of motion of the splash of the water. Like we said, the power of the wings getting ready to do that downstroke there. The high frequency waves underneath. So I find myself looking at the bird and trying to figure out what's happening here. Like, okay, she's got something clearly, and I can see the face, but my brain can't figure out exactly what the position of everything is. And this kind of this swoosh in the back here, like there's some. I know it's a cool shot, but my brain then wants to dive deeper and figure out exactly what's going on in the shot, which may not be a negative thing, but I'm just saying.
No, no. And WorkPix 360, Mark is asking if Topaz Sharpen AI would fix the blur. I don't think so. I think when you get an image like this, you can sharpen it a little bit, but if you go too far, then you start to get a lot of artifacts. So I'm okay with where it's at. I'm just pointing out that I think it's a slightly slow shutter speed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that I would really do to this image, if I wanted to sort of take this into my portfolio category, is I would fix the shadow coming across the eagle's face. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because you've got that horizontal shadow, which you can't control, right? That's the sun, the wings, or everything. But you can go in there and you can soften that edge. You can brighten the beak a little bit. You can brighten up underneath the eye, and just get rid of that line. That line is just so distracting.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all that
But
said, though, it is still one of my favorite images. I am really impressed with this image. This is really great.
yeah, well done. Well done, Xanonus. All right. Next shot up is from Eric Pronsky. Eric says Lamborghini power. The car was actually parked in downtown Austin, and I was practicing zooming through the image while taking the image to give a sense of motion. Zooming through the image while taking the image to give a sense of motion. Yeah, you got it. Look at that.
Yeah, that's very cool. It looks like he's going through some cones. So I'm wondering, like, how fast is he really going? Right? Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
really. Um, but it's a very cool technique. It's a very cool shot. I wish it had a little bit more punch and contrast, though. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It feels a little bit flat to me.
Yeah, yeah, I could see in a shot like this, you could pop it just a little bit. Did he vignette this at all? It doesn't look like it. It's like a natural vignette from that
Um,
wall on the right, and just dark items in there. Yeah, yeah, this is cool. I feel like I just want to maybe be a little, maybe get in a little tighter on this, because we've got words in the shot, so you want to see that Lamborghini a little clearer. So instead of making me kind of dive in to say, oh yeah, Lamborghini. Um, I don't know what the rule is or the rule of thumb or kind of the guidance is for showing license plates or anything in a shot like this. But if it were me, I probably would have obscured that somehow or removed it or changed it or something so as not to show someone's personal data. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Is that a big deal or is it not a big deal in a shot like
hmm.
this?
No, It's in public. I mean, anybody can see it anywhere. It's
Hmm.
not really like private data, right? Like it's
Yeah.
the license plate. So I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like if you shot through his window and you could see his driver's license laying on his seat or something, that wouldn't be that
Or his social
that might
security
not be a
number.
good idea. Yeah, yeah. But I like the shot. I like this technique. It's not something that we see or get to do a lot. The orange is a bit distracting to me. So I realize that, the cones and stuff make us feel like something's happening in the street, but I feel it's a distracting color. So I would really like to see the colors put down, like brought down the orange color, and then really just work on the contrast and the punch. Really just edit this image, give it some stylizing,
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
give it some
I agree.
attitude.
Are you happy with the crop?
Uh, no, not. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I think it needs to be dead center. It's not
Mhm.
right now, so
Mm.
I don't think we need the foreground as much as we have. I think I
Yeah.
would prefer to have more. What not foreground? What would that be? The upper ground, the
It's
horizon
less
above the
less
horizon.
foreground. Crop the bottom. Crop the
Grab the bottom. Grab the
bottom. Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Unless, like we used to say in the beginning, he left this space intentionally blank for text.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool shot though, Eric. Thank you. All right. Next up is Craig Stampley, Flying Kangaroo. Let's
Wow.
take a look at this. Wow, look at that. Okay, this is power. That's some Newton meters of thrust coming out of those twin engines right there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm just kind of zooming in and looking around. I really dig it. What I like about it is I like the composition in the frame. I think it's a very interesting composition. He really feels like he's leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
space behind him, which I like that a lot. The lower right hand corner, I love the fact that I can see the heat waves in the lower right corner,
Mm-hmm.
which at first I thought were clouds, and then I zoomed in, and I'm pretty sure that's just the heat wave from the engines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it feels great, and it gives a really good sense of what's happening in the shot. So and I love the cloud. Creates a nice foundation. He's up in the sky, like we know, tells a
Mm-hmm.
great story.
Yeah, I have a slightly different opinion. I want to see more of this aircraft because of the air activity and the turbulence coming off the wings, and like you said, the thrust, and just showing that this sort of power heat wave distortion is happening back here. I want to be closer on the plane. And this
Hmm.
cloud, as we say, the lighter things in the scene are the first things we look at, which means, and this is the biggest and the brightest. So we look to the cloud first, and then we look up and see the plane. I don't really care about that cloud that much. I know he's above the clouds. He could just be in in a patch of blue sky cropped in on him, but I want to see all the action around the plane and get into it and feel the heat coming off of those engines and feel the roar. The cloud doesn't really do anything for me down here. I don't hate it, but I feel like it's competing with what would just on its own be a highly engaging subject. So I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, and I just kind of zoomed in to kind of crop it in my viewfinder, and I think you're right. If you crop it so you get just a little bit of the cloud, because I think
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice to have that foundation and a
Mm-hmm.
majority of the plane in the top center. You still get a little bit of heat wave in the lower right hand corner, but now the first thing you see is you see orange that orange glow in the
Yeah.
engines, and you
Yep.
can see the cockpit, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That
just
definitely.
just a little, maybe an inch, maybe a crop to like right here,
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
there. So you get a little hint of the cloud, and then the rest it's all about Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and I would crop off the right side so that the plane itself would be centered horizontally, right above the
Mm-hmm.
cloud. I would play with
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't know. I'd have to see it, but that's where I would start.
Yeah, that's cool. Would you ever
Yeah.
get in the back
Love
seat of one of these, Troy?
No, no, no. I would throw up all over everything. It would be
There's
awful.
bags in there
I
for that.
No, my stuff. I can't do that. That's stuff I can't do. You can put me in a race car. I can go 100 miles an hour across the desert. Not a problem.
Yeah, I would.
Anything where
Oh,
anything where gravity goes away, I'm done. I'm done.
well, gravity never goes away. So it
Well,
just,
you know what I mean, right? That
yeah.
I don't do
You
roller
don't you
coasters
don't
because
you
that's
don't like 3 dimensions. You like 2 dimensions. Right? That's it.
my gut does not like the sensation of falling or negative gravity or
Oh.
any of that. Like it's not a mental thing. I have no choice over it. Like it does
Mm.
not. I cannot stand that. So it would just destroy me. It would ruin the experience.
So not a big roller coaster guy, I'm taking it.
Not unless they're really fast with a lot of turns, so I can be in the turn. I don't like that negative feeling. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah. Good Dog is asking, in my Air Force career, did I ever have a chance to go up? Not in a fast burner like this. It was it was hard to get into one of these, for sure. And I was young and the new guy, so all the older, experienced photojournalists got to take these rides. The younger photojournalists got to fly in UH-1s, helicopters, and those sorts of things. So I've been in all kinds of other aircraft, but not a fast burner. I've even jumped out of aircraft before, but I've never had a chance to feel the G's of one of these things. It's on my list. Is on my list.
That's
Unlike
amazing.
Troy Miller, who's like, yeah, go for it. I don't need that in my life.
I, and I shouldn't tell this story because it just weakens my appeal.
Uh-oh.
But I had a I had a client that he used to work. He was a private contractor, worked for the Air Force, and he did survival training. And he told me, like, if you ever want to go up and you want to fly in, I can't remember what it's called now. The fueling planes. Um,
Refueler.
he says, yeah, I can get you in there. Like you can sit at the
Tanker.
back, you can photograph the jets when they come up, and then when they refuel, like just let me know. And I'm like, dude, I want so
Oh my
bad. I
God.
just
I would have
I just
killed for that.
know. I know,
Oh,
I know. It would I would be miserable. I'm not afraid of the flying. I'm not like I trust all that. It's just that sense of motion just destroys me. I can't do it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. KC 135,
one of those
Stephen Sharp
things.
and Rick Kilboy are saying that. Yeah, I've actually done that. I think I have shots of me in the back of one of those with the door open, taking photos. It's not as scary as you think. I mean, you have a lanyard to the bottom of the plane. It's
Yeah.
loud. It's fine. It's fine. You would have been able to do it.
I
All
might I
right.
might do it now if I was given that chance, but yeah.
Oof. Yeah. So much stuff to do.
Hey, I'll jump my dirt bike over a 60-foot gap any day. Like that doesn't scare me at all. Like I'll launch that thing. I'm good.
So what you're saying is, split seconds of 0G you're good with, but sustained 0G, you know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Oh, okay. Folks are saying they're getting scattered audio. Uh-oh. I don't know why. I don't know why. If you are, I'm not sending out scattered audio, but I am recording this and I'll have the replay up a little bit later today. So never fear. If you're getting bad audio, it is being recorded.
Yeah.
All right. Which is another reason why I think, we need to consider switching to YouTube for these streams. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Could be me. Could be me. Who knows?
Yeah, Mark, yes. Yes, I am a control freak. I think that's probably part of it.
He is. Thank you, Mark, for saying that. It's very true. All
I don't
right.
deny it.
Lamb says, my entry for the photo critique theme, power, the photo title, The Power of Faith. Never underrate the power of faith. Climbing up 272-step concrete stairs is a big physical challenge for most people. No, I can't read all that, Lamb. Okay, so let's go into it. See, these photos have to stand on their own without all the text. I can only read a little bit of the text to be fair to everyone. All right,
Right.
what do you think? What do you think of this shot? I like the compression.
I, I do like the compression. I like the colors. I and this is one of the this is going to be one of those cultural uh disconnects, is that I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It's hard for me to know what's happening. I don't know if this is like a religious ceremony based on the text, or if this is somebody working, carrying a vending rig. I don't know. So I have a really hard time with that. So I'm glad that Lamb explains what it is.
Hmm.
um in the context of what he's explained, I really enjoy the guy in the orange shirt at the top in the center. He's clean against the stairs. I can recognize he's the character. So
Hmm.
photojournalistically, I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Helps me.
I'm torn on this. I mean, I know I mean, he's clearly in the center. The guy in the orange shirt is clearly in the center, so he in the activity is around him, especially since he's one of the few people in the shot that are facing us and the rest are facing the other direction. So I get it that he is the center of action here, but I kind of want that more emphasized. Like, I don't really need to see all those people at the bottom of the frame, and maybe less of the ones on the left and right. So I'm thinking maybe he could crop in a little bit more and maybe put our main subject, our hero, towards the bottom with a path up that long flight of stairs with a cluster of people at the bottom and more emptiness up top, just to kind of give it a place to go. And because I find myself looking close at this image, like, okay, what's going on here? What is that? What is he pulling up there? And
Yeah.
why is he doing that? So give me more information about that, and don't make me work to kind of figure out what's going on. Give me more pixels. I don't need the pixels spent on the crowd. Spend the pixels on our main hero so we can see more of him.
Right. Right. I would agree. I do enjoy it though, and unfortunately, in an image like this, there is that cultural disconnect that
Yeah.
we just don't know immediately what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
like in San Diego, they do the color run, and the first time they ever saw a photo of one of those in an image competition, I thought it was horrible. I'm like, what is this? They're throwing all this color. I can't see anybody's face. It it didn't make sense. It didn't translate. Like, I did not know what that was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the context is important. That's interesting. I mean, that goes to the discussion about the value of critiques as well. It's ironic that this is Lamb's image, because a lot of critiquing, I mean, all of critiquing for the most part is subjective, right? There are some rules that we're looking for, like composition and proper
mhm.
use of color, and those sorts of things, and technical things like dust spots, and those sorts of things. But in the end, the whole thing is subjective, right? It's all subjective. And then you have to overlay that subjectivity with, like you said, Troy, cultural sensitivities as well. So, so it's hard for a person that doesn't come from every place on the planet and that hasn't experienced everything on the planet to have the same outlook on the shot as you do.
Right, right.
So, all right. Thank you, Lamb. Moving right along. Next shot is from Michael Couts. Rise Above, Union Station in Los Angeles. Okay.
Yes.
Look at that.
Mike. My buddy Mike. Haven't heard from Mike in a while. I'm glad to see he's putting stuff in here, so that's really good.
Yep.
This is very much in Mike's style.
The solarization.
The solarization and the color, and just that black and white edginess. It really plays into his style of work, which it helps that I know that, because otherwise it might be too distracting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, um, with that said, I really love the photo. I don't know that it needs that in the background, or if it's going to be done in the background, maybe make it darker, fix some of those little white holes, that are gapping in the sign and things like that, so that it feels more intentional in the context.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
in defense of Mike Couch, this shot could be one of a series where they all have a similar kind of treatment to them, which would then link it together and make it make sense. Like standing alone like this, you're forced to think, okay, what's going on back there, and it becomes distracting. But if it was more obvious and part of a series or a triptych or something like that, each with a splash of color in the background or the same color in the background, and that color was also used in the mat or something, it would all kind of tie together and make sense. This one standalone like this, you're forced to kind of reach into what's going on here, and then you see the artifacts on this area up here also take you out of it, and like you said, this white
Mhm.
splotch down here in these things. So yeah, I get where he's going with this.
Yeah, I think that with an image like this, if you're able to mask that background and grab that, those areas, and you're going to put color in there, bring the tones down even, or do something that helps to separate our subject. Right now, I feel like it's kind of competing, and I really love his hands right on the keyboard, the intensity of him looking at the piano, and to me, that's where the story is, and I'm not sure that that effect is adding to this image
Hmm.
in a way that I'm understanding. If Mike is trying to communicate something with that particular tone or color or style, I'm not exactly getting it. So
Yeah. Well, here's another tangent I have for you as a professional portrait photographer. Put on your professional portrait photographer hat. Looking at this shot, this guy has a little bit of a cyst or something behind his left ear here. Which I see it, and it just distracts me a little bit from what's going on in the rest of the image. Is it
Mhm.
like, should you take that out, or is it just, hey, this is part of this artist, you leave that in there? Like, what's your guidance on that?
You leave it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we as the photographer, we often have influence over the lighting, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes lighting can accentuate certain things. And what I would probably do there is I would probably burn it down just slightly so it's less obvious.
Yeah.
So that if the subject were to look at it, he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's me." Right? Like I have textures on my face that if you photograph me, if you took out the pockmark that I have, right here, I'm not gonna like that. But if you
Mm-hmm.
reduce it, I'm okay with that. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's lighting. That's control of lighting. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would maybe do that. Um, but if
De-emphasize it
it's
a
if
little.
it's more photojournalistic, then no.
Yeah, I always wonder about that because, like, when you're shooting a bride, and say you got a bride that has a big old giant mole on her nose that's not attractive, but it's her, right? It's part of her. She grew up with it, you know. Yeah, I would, as a novice, I call myself a novice wedding photographer. My knee jerk reaction, because I tend to lean more towards beauty and fashion, I'd be like, no, that's got to go. Let's fix
Right.
it, you know. But in a wedding situation, which skews more towards photojournalism, where would you
Right.
do, and what would you do in that situation?
I do the best I can to make them look as good as possible with the light that I have. So, if I take a subject outside and I do a harsh lit or something like that, and it really accentuates the texture in their face, I'm going to pull that texture down. I'm going to reduce the shadow. I'm going to reduce the contrast, but I'm not going to get rid of it because
Hmm.
because let's face it, like you could photograph somebody and make their skin look porcelain smooth just by lighting,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that's okay. But if the lighting doesn't dictate that, especially like in a wedding situation or a portrait situation where you're not setting up a studio of lights, I might minimize certain things, but I'm certainly
Hmm.
not gonna take them out. And
Would
look,
you
they
ask,
know.
like, would you ask
No,
the client? You're like, hey, Jane, I'm retouching one of your photos, and I noticed you have this giant mole on your nose. Would you like me to remove that? You wouldn't have that conversation.
no,
Mm.
no, gosh, no, absolutely not. Um, and I think that it's because it's who that person is, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like skin color. I have
Hmm.
couples that have really dark skin and really light skin, and I often get the question like, "Well, how do you photograph them?" Like, well, they know what they look like. They
Hmm.
take pictures of themselves. I'm not going to lighten, him and then darken her or vice versa so that
Yeah.
I think it looks good in a photo.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
So,
that. Love that.
you roll with it.
I love it. Cool. Awesome. So much food for thought.
I know.
Couts, thank you for that shot. Moving right
Yeah.
along.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for getting involved in that. I'm glad to see you in there.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Steven Scharf is up next. Steven says, nowhere to hide. John Force's crew chief finds there's nowhere to hide from the fearsome 10,000 horsepower of the Castrol GTX top fuel funny car. Okay, let's bring this guy
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I feel the
love it.
power there. You can smell that, can't you? Can you smell it?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I smell burnt
Yeah.
rubber, fuel, and I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
hot dogs and popcorn.
That
I don't know.
nitro.
I don't even know what nitro
Yeah, that's
smells like. Does it
insane.
have a smell?
Oh my God. Yes. It's
Really?
well, so there's there's different levels of nitro. Nitro, just like if you just smell nitromethane, it smells really good. It's kind of sweet. When it's burning, it just lights your face on fire. It's hard to see. Your eyes will water. It's like a pepper gas for some.
Ugh.
It's hard, like I got to wear masks when I'm around there. So yeah, it's acrid smell.
Got
And
it.
if you look at this photo, if you look at the exhaust on the left-hand side, you see that white coming out of there. That's not smoke. That's nitro that didn't burn. They're putting
Jeez.
they're putting so much fuel through these engines. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Wow. Okay, what do you think of this shot on the merits of power critique?
I love the shot. I'm not sure that I love having the guy on the left. I really
Mhm.
feel like the hero of this is the car. I
Mhm.
understand the story that Steven's trying to tell with this. I do like that. But I really like the car and all the guys on the right. They're not even interested, right? They're not even looking.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you got this thing that within a mile, 5 miles, everybody's hearing this thing. Just definitely hearing it. And he's off the throttle right there, by the way. He's not even on the
Really?
throttle at that point.
Jeez, this
Yeah.
is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Steven
But
Steven says Steven says I wanted to be a bit tight to create the sense that there is nowhere for the crew chief to escape to, that he's trapped. Okay, so this crew
yeah.
chief down here is sort of trapped in the matrix there. Okay.
Yeah, I do like it. And I love the fact that the guy on the right is wearing his Castrol GTX shirt, and you can clearly see the gentleman on the left that's tight is wearing a GTX shirt as well. So it really feels like it's all cohesive. So I really enjoy that. So
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm on the fence
being
about that. I see what Steven was trying to do as well. With the crew chief there, and I hear you, Steven. Yeah, but from a I just discovered this shot in the cold. Looking at it, my brain instantly wants to. I don't want my smoke behind the car interrupted, and that guy's taking me out of it. I'm like, get out of there, man! It's like that dude that's obscuring your view of this thing that you've been waiting for him to launch all day, and he's just standing there. Like, man, come on, move! I want to get the shot. And so it feels like the photographer frustration. Like, you're messing up my shot.
yeah.
Um, but the cropping, yeah, I get the tight cropping. This is cool. I like what he did there. I like he left a little bit of space for in the bottom right for the car to move into, obviously. And yeah, again, like just like the shot with the plane, I want to see this more. Like I don't know, I don't split on it because like I like which makes it's a powerful shot. I like the power in the shot itself, but part of me, the voyeur in me, wants to get close to see what's going on here. What's going on with these pipes
Right.
on the left and the right here, and the smoke, and take me into it. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a cool shot though.
Yeah, I think this is a subject matter that speaks more to somebody who is into this culture, right? Like as a motorhead,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff I really get, and it really makes a lot of sense to me. So much so that I wish that the blades on the blower and the intake were open, because then I would know that his
Oh.
foot is in it and he's under power. Like right now they're closed and I know that his foot's out of it and he's probably coasting from his burnout or something. Those little things culturally, that if you're into that culture, if that's your thing, it makes a difference, right? So I love the image because I know what it feels like and smells like and sounds like to be there. And it's a difficult shot to get, by the way. It's not easy. Even when they do a burnout, they're moving pretty quick and they're coming at you. So it's technically very difficult to capture.
Like at this stage, are they like
And
kind
it's
of
very well done.
lurching are they lurching to kind of get in position, or like what?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
So what they're doing is they're doing a burnout to heat up the tires.
Mm-hmm.
He's not under power. So if this was actually a launch for the initial drag, the front end would be torqued and lifted. The blades where you see the A's, like that's the blower, that's the intake for the blower. Those things would be wide open. And you've got a fraction of a second to nail that shot. So even right here, though, they're moving. Yeah, they lurch quite a bit.
I think he should have just he should have blown his horn to get that guy to move out of the way a little bit. Like,
You know, it always surprises me is that they don't move. They stand there, you know. And you know, another indication that he isn't launching is because there's guys in front of the car. Because when they actually do the race, then they go up and they stage on the line, and everybody has to be behind them. So
yeah, yeah. I'd like, you know, I want to see a drone shot of this, of the, like, because all these shots from, you know, Steven Sharf and or Mike Doran, I would, you know, I get little glimpses into this world, this motorsports world. I want to see an overall shot so I can like, oh, okay, so these guys are there and this is how far they got to go. I don't have no, I get these
yeah,
little slivers of knowledge. I want to see the whole thing. Yeah, Steven says drones over the track are strictly verboten. Yeah, I would imagine they're strictly
yeah,
verboten in most places these days. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Thank you,
Very
Steven
great
Sharf.
shot though.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, sir. Michael DeRay's up next. He says raw power.
These guys are
Look at that.
crazy.
Yeah, that just does it. Like you and your, you know, aversion to negative G's. I have aversion to death or negative life. So
I think that's pretty universal.
I don't know. Look at these guys. So,
I photographed. We have a rodeo. Part of the national rodeo circuit actually comes not too far from us. There's a place out here where I've gone and photographed the rodeo, and those guys are some of the craziest adrenaline junkies that I've ever met. They're insane. They're just crazy. To climb on top of a bull like this, and they just love it. This is really a good shot. This is really a great shot.
Yeah, you can almost hear it. You can hear it. Yeah, I love the guy on the right up here. The one guy, everybody else has cowboy hats on. This one guy has a crash helmet on. He was like,
Yeah, he's gonna ride next.
I had a bad experience. I had a bad experience.
Yeah. His girlfriend probably told him, like, you got to wear a mask. I don't want the bull stepping on your face. Like,
exactly.
You know, we're not going to go.
So let's start with composition of this shot. So what do you think composition wise? The only thing I have to say compositionally is it feels flat, right? I feel like I have to Where's Waldo to find the guy's face of what's going on in the shot. A really powerful shot, peak action, sharp, all of that, but you know, when you first look at it, your brain has to, okay, those guys are looking at something. Oh, there's a bull with a dude on it, right? So I want him to come out more. You know, maybe this is just a matter of dodging and burning, but I want him, our main hero, to come out more, and I want our, you know, subordinate heroes to be pushed back more. I don't know. What do you think?
No, and that's such a really good point, because I think that really good images have a primary and secondary hook, and in this image, the primary hook is really the bull, And secondary is our rodeo rider, or you could argue that those are the primary. The secondary could be the gentleman in the back watching, and so I think you want to layer your toning to fit that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely burn down the guys in the back, half a stop.
Mm-hmm.
Bring the bull and the rider up, half a stop.
Yep.
I think you're going to get a lot more depth out of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because then you're like, whoa, look what's going on, and he got the expressions of all these dudes back there. Yeah, especially this dude, like this the scream on the face. You got this, Roy. You
Yeah.
got this.
I will say, having photographed rodeo before, that it's really, really, really difficult to get a good timed shot of the bull and the rider and the background and all those things. And this bull looks like it's just out of the gate.
Yep.
He's not very far away from where he was released. The cowboy riding the bull, it's nice that his head is in a space where you can identify him. You can see the expression on his face. These are not easy shots to get. Everything happens really fast.
Yeah. 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 This is interesting. That'd be interesting to go shoot one of these. Just like shoot can you imagine like a week long where one day you shoot a rodeo, the next day you shoot a mock wedding, the next day you shoot a concert, the next day you do some street photography. That'd be awesome. All with the gear that you brought with you. So you don't have a whole locker of gear like, oh well, I'm shooting motorsports today.
That's easy.
Oh, easy, huh? All right.
Yeah, it's easy. It's all lightened subjects. Yeah,
yeah. He's like a brain surgeon. It's easy. You just cut this, drill a hole. It's easy. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Cool shot though. I like this one. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, next up is Freddie Sedano, Power Couple. Power resides where Raptors believe it resides. God, I never can pronounce this guy's name. Varys? Is it Varys? Varys? Is low base guy still in here? How do you pronounce his name? Varys? I think it's Varys from Game of Thrones. He's the bald eunuch in Game of Thrones. All right.
I don't know.
You don't watch Game of Thrones? Have you never seen the series?
No. What? Nah, I watched some of it. Didn't
resonate. Yeah.
No,
it's fantasy, old world magic, fantasy, killing, sex, violence, all that stuff.
I don't dislike that theme. I just thought Game of Thrones went too far on the violence.
It's gratuitous. It's gratuitous.
Yeah, we got enough of that shit happening in the real world. I don't need to watch it for entertainment. So I just
there you go. See, and this is why we're friends. I told you, man. Like it's a never-ending quest to find anything positive in movies these days. Like in stuff that I like, science fiction, action, adventure. It's always like, it's the end of the world. So and so's gonna kill everybody. We gotta find them. Or monsters are coming and killing everybody. Or zombies are killing everybody. It's always something. Want some positivity.
That's right. That's right. Apple pie and ice cream.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of Freddie Sedano's shot?
I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. I don't think that I would understand the context without some description. Mm-hmm. I think that it's a neat community type setup with these toys, and I like the shallow foreground. I like the shallow background. Like look like we're working with some depth of field and stuff in there. So no, it's really cool. I think the lighting could be a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I think the lighting could be dramatic, and I think what Freddie needs to, if he hasn't already, Freddie Sedano, stop motion photography. You're a video guy and a photographer and a drone pilot, right? You do some stop motion, like mixed media. Show some mixed media stuff. That would be amazing.
Right. When you start to get into photographing small objects, macro, toys, anything like that, lighting becomes incredibly important and very, very difficult because normal
Mhm.
size objects automatically have this natural light, right? The light wraps around the size and those kind of things, and it feels natural. Um, but when you go miniature, it's really hard to sell it. And that's where you got to get really critical with the lighting. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of ways to do that, but
Yeah, and
atmospheric effects.
if you're doing kind of that tilt shift thing where you're trying to simulate reality from a small shot. I've never done that. I've seen some people do like create. I know this one artist. I interviewed him in Puerto Rico. He's this one artist that he literally half of his process is model building. So he'll go and buy a model of an X-wing fighter and put it together meticulously and paint it and then crash it, in a scene and create an entire
Right.
diorama of the scene in miniature and then light it with realistic lighting and photographing and then take all that into Photoshop and do cool stuff to it. It's an amazing process. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think that helps sell it,
Hmm.
because I think when we look at shots like this, it looks like the object was placed on the ground and pretty much photographed in that lighting, and the size and the depth and everything, it's harder to translate, right? Like it doesn't have as much meat in it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and the story piece. We need a story. We need to know what's going on here without having to
Right.
read about it. Cool. Freddie Sedano. Thank you, sir. All right, Peter Levshin. Sony A7R2 Moscow train station power of a female rock singer and the Communist Party railway station. Freedoms of speech in very short supply. Quick photo shoot to say the least. Let's see what else he says. He says we were kicked out in 15 minutes. Yeah, I bet, dude. You lucky you got kicked out. You might still be there.
Peter Peter always, I've known Peter for a long time. I've seen lots of his images. It always surprises me when he pulls stuff out that I haven't seen before. I'm like, dude, I did not know that you had these.
Yeah, this is
Um,
cool. I like this shot. I like the symmetry. You can see what he's thinking. Like you can almost get into Peter's brain. He locked the symmetry down. We've got the sickle and hammer center right in the middle perfectly. Everything's centered, and then the one thing that's not symmetrical is our heroine there that's singing for
yep.
freedom right there. I like it. Really cool. What do you think?
Yeah. I dig it. I do dig it. I think that a little bit of dodging and burning to bring our attention to our subject would be nice. This to me looks like it's lit by an artificial strobe. There's some shadows and stuff that I think. Um, so I want to bring our subject up a little bit. Zooming in, I think it's actually a little bit stronger if we zoom in and crop into our subject even tighter.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because it the ceiling can be a little distracting and we lose our subject in the scene. Um, if we leave the crop the way it is, I think some dodging and burning to bring her out or crop in a little bit, maybe just zoom in and crop half of that ceiling off a little tighter, right to the
Yep.
pillars.
Yep.
And it really just gives us a focus on her.
Yeah, I agree. Because if you look at this from a tonal value standpoint, like we say, your eyes are going to the brightest point, and that's back here, right? So, or
Right,
maybe on these bricks a
right,
little bit, but not here. So you have to the
right.
thing that leads you to her is the break in symmetry. It's like, okay, oh, there you are, Waldo, right there. So
Yeah.
we don't want the Waldo. We want to be slapped in the face, or at least have it be obvious who our heroine is for the shot.
Right. And if you take your images and you flip them upside down and
Hmm.
then look at the image and see what your eye goes to first, ask yourself, is that what I want the viewer to see first? And in this case, you're going to look at that ceiling, dead center at the back. Then you're going to see your subject, your heroine. You're going to see that.
Yep.
If that's not what you want, then you need to change the tonal
Hmm.
values in the image
Hmm.
to focus on your subject.
This shot would almost. I'm sure Peter did a shot of this without the woman in there, but this would be a good shot with without her in there. It'd be awesome. Or you could do any
Yeah.
number of things. Like she could be sitting playing the guitar against one of those pillars, or in the middle, right underneath the sickle and hammer. There's a bunch
Hmm.
that could be done here. Well, before you get kicked out, right, Peter?
Yeah, yeah. Before you get kicked out. Um, no, it's a really great shot though, and I really appreciate it. I think just a little dodging and burning and a little tonal value um, changing would really help a lot. So, and I like the fact that it's in black and white. I really do. I think that helps a lot because it's
Hmm.
it's more graphical that way.
Yep. Yeah, and black and white feels Soviet Union too for some reason. I don't know. It just
It
feels
does, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Soviet. All right. Amy Brooks is up next. Amy Brooks says The Glory of Nature and the Horror of Nature. Eagle with Canada Goose. Yeah. That's a coming home from the grocery store right there. All right.
Yeah.
Have at it, Troy Miller. What do you think?
It's a powerful shot. I mean, it's but I but I struggle with understanding what it is without the description.
Mm-hmm.
Not being a birder, it takes me a little bit to kind of figure out what's going on in there. So, but what a really unique, capture, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
sure that this isn't something that you can just photograph anytime, any day.
Yeah. No, I
So,
agree. I mean, our brains know what an eagle in flight looks like. So we know that if this wing is down, then there's another identical or nearly identical wing on the other side in the same position. So,
mhm.
it takes a millisecond to work that out. But if you just look at it at a glance, you see, okay, what's going on here? Does he have three wings? Like, is there another wing coming out of the back? Yeah, because the wings are of the same tonal value of the goose as the eagle. But yeah, if there was some way to separate them a little bit more, so instantly that he's got his catch of the day, and that's what's going on, it would make it more powerful. Because when you look at it, you're like, okay, there's an eagle and there's something else going on there, and you have to work to
Yeah.
figure out what the something else is. If I didn't have to work so hard to know that that's actually another bird that's having a very bad day, I think it would be stronger. And is it sharp? Is the face and the eyes of the eagle sharp to you?
No, no, it's definitely not sharp. There's a lot of motion happening in here. So,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to see where maybe it was a quicker shot or it's a panning shot, but it's not sharp. The vignette is a little heavy for me too. I like the idea of putting a vignette in to darken the edges, but it feels a little bit heavy
Just like
because
a
I can
notch. Yeah, just a,
I
a
can see
sprinkle.
it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can see
If
the circle.
Yep. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to see that circle. So that's a good point on vignettes. So, I mean, obviously you can do a vignette in pretty much any app, and they're generally all circular. Although you can do ovals and change the gradation and all that stuff. Is it better in your opinion, like for a shot like this, to use an irregular gradient, or if you're gonna put a vignette on it, or bring it into Photoshop and paint your paint on a layer where you want to be darkened in there? What do you think? Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Frederick. I don't. Anytime I vignette, I do it by hand, and I don't usually use a radial that is perfectly round and
Mhm.
centered. Like in Capture One, I use radial gradients all the time, but they're super feathered and they go directly on my subject as opposed to just in the frame. The idea of doing sort of a vignette or burning the edges down is so that your eyes don't leave the frame. We want the
Mhm.
edges to be just slightly darker so our eyes stay within the frame of the photo. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Keeping it
Yeah.
irregular, putting it where it needs to be, not just over the whole image.
Yeah. Nature doesn't create perfectly oval or round gradients generally, right?
Not usually, yeah. Yeah, not usually. So, and then I just want to speak real quick to the cropping or the framing of this. I feel like it would be better if the eagle was higher in the frame as opposed to lower in the frame. I don't think that having all that vertical space is really adding to this, you could really just, if you don't have any more foreground, just crop half or 2/3 of the vertical space, and I
Hmm.
think it would be a lot stronger. But that depends on whether the resolution will hold out or not.
Right, right. What about color? Would you have left the color in here, or do you think this would be stronger in monochrome? It's already close to monochrome, except for the beak, right?
I think it would be I think it would be stronger in black and white, and the reason is that you can get away with pushing the sharpening and the tonal gradations and things like that than you can in color. Right now, it feels very flat,
Hmm.
and maybe it was just a very gray, overcast day, and so we're not really getting a nice color out of the beak, which is not that color, you know.
Right, right.
Um,
And
so maybe go maybe
capture one, you could target those yellows in that beak and bring them out, right?
Yeah, I don't think it would look natural from this starting point. Like, I don't know what the raw file looks like, but
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Love these birds in flight. Lots of power in this critique.
yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
All right. Is this one? What was the last one? Was it clouds? Sunset was the last one.
Sunset was the last one, yeah.
Was this part of the? I think this was part of the last one. This is not power. I want to say what else is after this one. Yeah, this was the last. That was the last one. Well, you can do
Yeah.
this one anyway. We can take a look at it since you didn't see this one.
No, yeah, I went through and looked at all the other ones. I haven't seen a lot of them. There's a lot of good ones in here.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. This is cool. Not power. I mean, this
yeah,
could be power, but this could also be this. There's supposed to be sunset, but no, I like it.
yeah, those clouds are amazing. I love those clouds. I would work on that horizon light a little bit more. I would bring that up as much as I possibly could.
Mm-hmm. Make that pop.
Yeah, it was probably there visually, you know, but it doesn't always translate photographically, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that was from the last critique, so that doesn't. You can't
yeah.
pick that one as your favorite for this go around. So
Seriously?
you cannot. You cannot. So what do you think? Any thoughts for a favorite?
Uh, so many thoughts. I really love Michael Duray's. You know, that to me is just one of my favorite images. Between that one and Craig Stampley's, I really have a hard time
Okay, let me find
picking between those
Craig's.
two.
Oh,
With the fighter jet. Yeah.
yeah.
I my argument for Michael Duray's is that compositionally it's super solid. The timing is right on. We don't even have to guess what's happening. You know, I mean, the story comes across so clear. Um, and if you've ever been to a rodeo or seen this, like there is an enormous amount of power in that bull, you know. So
There it is. Yeah, but I'm torn as well. I mean, it's funny we picked the same one. I'm torn on this one, um, because with that crop, it doesn't have the crop, so we can't judge it on that. But with the crop down here, this would have been, getting rid of this cloud
mhm.
essentially would have been exceptional and absolutely fits within the category of power, right? Because that's just raw power. You're basically sitting on top of some explosions right there, and not only the
Right.
thrust coming out of this thing, but also fully armed. Talk about
Yeah.
power from
Yeah, that's
above,
true.
right? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna let you be the tiebreaker since you're the co-host. So you tell us, Troy Miller, which one are we gonna go with for this round?
I'm gonna go with Michael Duray.
Michael Duray.
I really like that. Yeah, and I think that, you know, one of the things that really sells me over on this image is it's a complete package. There's like technically it's not challenge. I mean, we're not challenged by technical issues in the image. It's compositionally it's really solid. The lines are vertical. I mean, the technical aspect is there. It communicates a story that we don't have to try to translate or figure out. So I think that in the category, and for me, the story comes across really clearly in this image. Plus, it's just a damn good image. So
It is. It is. You can do it, Roy. Hang on.
and this
Now
is that would be Michael DeRay's first win in our critique too, which is nice.
Oh, is it really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, my friend. You are the winner. Very cool. All right. So that said, what's next week's topic?
Next week's topic is airplanes. So, Mr. Stanford,
Craig Stanley.
You jumped the week.
You missed it by that much.
He's got to have more. He's gonna have more from
Yeah.
that series. You know he does. So
Airplanes. Oh, that's gonna be a tough one. Airplanes. Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All
we're
right.
next. We have 3 left. So it's airplanes. Then it's abstract portraiture. And the last one is botanical. So
Didn't we do flowers already?
It's not the same.
I know.
We discussed that.
I know. All right,
Flowers
botanical.
Botanical is everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Botany, right? But we so abstract portraiture. Interesting. I have a feeling who's going to excel in that one, but we'll see. We'll see what you guys do. Abstract portraiture. We should bar. You know what we should do? We should bar Craig Colvin from that one. That should not be Craig Colvin. Craig Colvin should not be allowed to participate in that. That is not the game here. All right, it looks like we're getting rated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shu. What's up, Shu? What's up, peoples? Welcome. Come on in. Always at the end, as we're about to end this thing.
We just picked our winner.
I didn't want to do that. Hold on. I want to take that here. So many scenes, so little time. Cool. There's Shu. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for bringing your peoples over here.
Welcome.
Yeah. Low Base Guy says surrenders immediately to Raiders. Raiders of the Lost Art. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Alex.
Yeah.
Kiel Chidi. Look at that.
Yep. We were just arguing the difference between botanicals and flowers.
I know. And you know what I want to talk about now, Troy, before we end. So you guys are right on time, actually, because I wanted to have a quick ending conversation about critiques overall and the value of critiques. So to set the stage, remember Lamb posted a really insightful article, kind of just, it wasn't calling into question the validity of critiques, but more of just examining how people can extract value from critiques and the value of critiques if used properly. And I thought it would merit just a couple of minutes of conversation between you and I on the positioning of these critiques, because I know we're in the hundreds of critiques now under our belt, but you, Troy Miller, are the one that came up with the idea of doing these critiques in the first place. Of course, I then took the ball and made it awesome, but you gave me the seed.
There is truth to that. Yeah, there is.
You planted the seed. Yeah. I watered it until, nurtured it and all that. But, from your standpoint, he had made some valid points. So, and some of it is, critiques are inherently subjective, right? It's you and I. We're just two guys.
Sure.
We don't have superpowers. There's two guys giving our opinions, which you could take or leave. For TWiP Pro members and the people that are watching these videos that we record on this topic, what's the best way for people to get the most out of these photo critiques, whether it be ours or any other structured ones, or even just, some photographer that you admire giving you feedback on your work? How should people best receive criticism?
Well, first and foremost, don't put your images in a critique if you're thin-skinned, and you're going to be hurt if somebody says something negative. Like, just don't even go there. You put your images in. to a critique by people that you actually want to hear what they have to say, and then take it with a grain of salt. If you I'm always a big fan that you either really agree or you really disagree, and both are super valuable, because if I submit an image and nobody likes it, but I like it, that means I did my job. I did what I wanted. I created it for me. Perfect.
Mhm.
If other people like it and I can get some feedback on that, great. I might not use it, but I know that I get their response, right?
Mhm.
It's like food, it's like flavor. If you don't like sushi, don't go to sushi and then complain you don't like sushi. Don't go there.
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Don't move to Los
Um,
Angeles and complain about the traffic, right?
yeah, and I think critiques are a lot like that. Competitions are a lot like that. When I was going through PPA and going through my competition to get my master's and all that stuff through PPA, I would talk to other people that are entering, and they would get so upset that, oh, they don't understand my work, and they're ridiculous, and this is a stupid process. I'm like, you paid to send the image in. Don't send any more images in.
Mhm.
Problem
Mhm.
solved. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
I think yeah, it's like I think a lot of people have a lot of problem with the grain of salt thing, right? Because like, when we do these critiques, we're not purporting to be, although we do have, under our belts probably collectively 40 years plus of experience shooting, but
right.
that's nothing compared to other photographers, and it's myopic, right? I've only walked in my shoes, and I only care about the genres of photography, personally, that I like to shoot. So I'm looking at things from that angle and through those lens. Same with you, Troy. You're an experienced, seasoned photographer, but you're not an expert in all genres of photography. But we are,
No.
I think, we're well versed in the basics of photography that apply to most, if not all, genres. Like we were talking about composition and color and just technical errors within the shot. So we can. I try to structure the questions I ask about these. First, you could probably tell the pattern. First, from a technical sort of acumen standpoint, like, did you nail the
Right.
exposure? Is your composition right? Could you have done something differently? And then it goes to subjective after that. Like, if it were me, I would have took that tree off the left side of the frame, but it's your pixels. You do what you want to do with it. So you got to take that and then digest it and take out of it what nutrients you want that feed your particular kind
Right.
of photography. All the nutrients are going to be for you, but some of them may work. You agree with that at all?
I do, and I think it's really super important that you only take from the critiques what you want. And it doesn't mean that you have to change to what that judge says or that critiquer says or whatever. Absolutely, it does not mean that at all. What you're doing is you're getting a verbal description of what that person thinks of when they see your work. Well,
Mhm.
imagine how many people think things about your work that you never get to hear. You
Yeah.
post it on Instagram, or you hang it in a gallery, or you share it with a client. They don't often tell you what they think of the image. I would love to know what everybody thinks of those images.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
entering them into critique, you get that. That's just one solitary voice pretty much out of all
Yeah.
the people that are going to see your work, you
Yep.
know. Um and I would say that with the social structure that we have today with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, I think most likes that we get on photos are they're just gifts. It's somebody going, "Oh, here you go. I'll give you a like." But
Hmm.
but what do they really think of that image?
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
rather I'd rather have somebody tell me, that image sucks. I don't like that. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to know. Even negative feedback is positive. I think of likes and plus ones and all that stuff is kind of like a social media representation of this gesture. Is it? Yeah, there's kind of a means nothing acknowledgement slightly on the positive. It's like, yeah, I see you. Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't. You're not an idiot. But yeah, to get
So
substantive feedback is or comments, non trollish comments, right? Because you'll get those people, which is what it's part of that double-edged blade of social media. You'll get the people that look at your work and they're just like, yeah, they may be having a bad day, or the picture reminds them of a bad breakup or something, and they'll just let off on you because they can, and
Right.
it's anonymous, which we don't have. We don't have anonymity in the TWiP Pro community, but outside of our walls, anonymity, people can say whatever they want to say and don't really care about how it affects you. And which can be devastating to some people, which is why I know a lot of podcasters that or previous podcasters that started podcasting and then they realized that, wow, you're kind of opening yourself up to people making comments about your life. It's, podcasters or
Right.
vloggers or whomever, even Instagram models, whoever, right? You're opening yourself up to commentary from people. And like you said, Troy, if you don't have that thick skin and you don't have the ability to say, yeah, okay, so you don't like my work, but I like it, thank you for your
Right.
feedback. If you internalize that and you're like, oh, I suck because this random Bob 123 says I should stop shooting. If you internalize that, then you need to either examine your own motivations for doing photography
Sure.
or step away from it because it's going to get worse after that, right?
So early on in my career, even before Instagram and all that kind of stuff was really really heavy, I took a 5-year hiatus from any type of external influence in my work. No magazines, no clubs, no groups, no competition, no nothing, just me.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to get myself to a level that I was proud of and that I liked. I had to build my foundation without anybody else's influence. So then when I went out into the world and I photographed and I shared my work and I entered competitions, their comments were only slight modifications to what I had already believed or proven to myself to be my work, my art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's even harder now because if you throw your work up on Instagram and you get, X amount of likes, well, somehow that justifies to yourself that you did a good job. And then you enter that into a critique, and somebody's like, well, this is crooked, it's off center, it's out of focus, like, and you don't win. Now there's this conflict that you have. So create work that you trust and that you know is good for you and that you can repeat and you believe in and you understand,
Yeah.
and then put it into a critique just to refine it ever so slightly. Get the recipe for your cookies down and then let other people taste them and then make little changes, not big
Yeah.
changes.
Yep, yeah, just little tweaks. It's interesting. It's such a hard and interesting topic because, on the one hand, I think about, we had what was it, Steve Richard on a couple of weeks ago, and he comes to the member mixers from time to time. But you remember he was talking about his whole the whole idea of the personal dogma, where he builds rules around his work that he adheres to, and that then informs how he's going to create future pieces. He's not influenced by external influences. He only prints one piece, for every piece of work he creates. So he has these artificial, if you want to say artificial, but these artificial constraints around his work, and that's the way he chooses to work.
Sure.
For a seasoned photographer like him, I get it. But for the new photographer, right? So the people that are just trying to figure out what their genre is or what their style is, what they like or what camera they like or what post-processing tool they like Troy, from your standpoint, how do you guide those people so that they're moving? If they want to move into a personal dogma, great. But while the lava is still wet, how do you get it into the right form?
Dude, that's a big question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um I think that the biggest challenge for new anything is if you're new into something, you don't know what questions to ask. So it's this sort of hunt and gather information kind of thing. And you try to get the right information. You try to assemble something that you think is the right info for you. And that's kind of how our system works. What I would say is that if you're challenged, just simplify everything down to like one subject, one topic, and learn it. And don't listen to the peripherals. As an example, I'm learning to play the guitar again, and I just bought a mountain bike. Mountain bikes are like camera gear. You can buy a $10,000 mountain bike. I
Yeah.
chose to buy a $500 mountain bike, and I'm just going to focus on that one until I know enough to make an upgrade.
Yeah.
And as a new
Yeah.
photographer, just go take pictures. When you need to do more, then pursue that. Don't get overwhelmed with gear and the tech articles and that. You got to start small, right? Start small, start simple, master that, master the next thing, master the next thing.
Yeah. I love
And
it.
it's
I
hard.
love it.
It's
It is. It is. Yeah. And on that the mountain biking example is interesting because yeah, it makes a ton of sense. You know, start small, then iterate and make sure it sticks. The other side of that blade is, you know, it doesn't stick for some reason. You're like, oh, I can't do this. I don't really like this as much as I thought I would. And the thing that's holding you back is the fact that you didn't spend an extra $2,000 and get a carbon fiber frame that's lighter, and you didn't get clip-in things and all that stuff. So then you know, you don't reach orbit for that particular hobby because you didn't have strong enough boosters. So yeah, it's
so you buy gear, whether this is photography or mountain biking or canoeing or whatever. Pursue gear when you need it,
yeah.
not before you need it, not in anticipation of I should have it. Buy it, get it when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
and let the situation dictate what gear you buy.
Right. Right.
And then you're golden. You're always good. You're always good.
And it just put you on the spot. So, what hold is that Osmo Pocket 2 that you have, Phil?
It was a gift. Um, so it's a gadget. And as you could attest to, my photographic prowess far exceeds what a pocket will do for me. So it's a toy. It's not going to make my life better, or make my photography better, or increase in anything in any way. It's just you get to a certain level in your skill set that those tools are peripherals and they're fun and you understand how they all work.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with I just want it because it looks cool and I want to play with it. So, you know, you can still be human.
but it's funny because like we all do this in different subjects, but it's like going back to the mountain biking thing. And I think Steven Scharf made a comment about his Shimano SPD pedals. Um,
Oh yeah.
I had people tell me like, "Oh, dude, you need to replace those pedals. Like, you need to get better pedals."
Yeah.
I don't even know why I need better pedals. I'm not going to buy pedals until mine break or they fail me in some way. Uh, and so I'm totally content with that. It's
Yeah.
so easy to get distracted. Don't get distracted. I don't want to say I feel bad, but I do sort of feel sorry for the good old days of photography where you bought a camera, you sent your
Hmm.
stuff off to a lab. You were a photographer. You took pictures.
Yeah.
Now you're a color specialist. You're an IT data manager. I, it's overwhelming
Yeah.
for a new
Yeah. There's a
photographer
lot.
today.
And getting worse. I mean,
Overwhelming.
as yeah, you get like you could be Mark Charette, get into 360, or you could be shooting video. Should I be shooting 1080 HD? Should I be shooting 4K, 8K? And then there's all the audio stuff. That's a whole nother world of
It doesn't.
pocketbook drain right there. Because you could start with a $5 mic or buy a $5,000 mic. Which one should I get? Right. So you're right. Goes on and on.
It's always interesting to me because the gear that we could buy today, the garbage gear, right? Like the garbage gear we could buy today is light years ahead of the best gear we could buy 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the content that we look at and admire was created with old gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to understand that, right? Like,
Sensibilities were
I,
different back then too. So yes, but the expectation from the public, like movies, right? You look at a movie, you're like, how could I go rewatch an old sci-fi flick, like Lost in Space or something, the original series, and you're like, man, how did I think this was awesome and state of the art? You can look at it
no,
nostalgically and say that, but when we were watching it, we're like, this is amazing. And now we look at, Avengers and whatever, and we're like, whoa, this is amazing. What's going to be amazing in 2030? So it's.
well, okay, but let's take that example. Let's take the
Yeah.
movie Citizen Kane,
Hmm.
okay, which was what, made like in the 50s or something.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
You- anybody's phone, anybody's iPhone could shoot better resolution than the gear that they used back then. Oh, 1942, right?
1941 from Wikipedia.
Oh, okay, yeah, Steven said 1942, so we're close. So
Hmm.
what I'm saying is that if we look at Citizen Kane today, if you watch that, the cinematography, the composition, the lighting, the acting, the scripting, fantastic,
Hmm.
fantastic. We're looking at it with modernized today, with the gear we have today. If somebody today, like a film student, wanted to reproduce Citizen Kane, right? They're going to go, well, okay, I've got to have, an R5 or an R6, or I've got to have a Sony A7R Mark IV so I can shoot it in 4K, and I've got to have these special LED light panels. And they
Yeah.
shot it on what we consider to be garbage gear by today's standards, right?
True.
And I think that's the challenge, is we don't need most of the gear that we have, and a lot of new photographers, a lot of new mountain bikers, a lot of new surfers, whatever. We get caught up in the gear and the software and the things that I have to have. And I just
Yeah.
wish people would pull back from that. Um, one of the classes that I was doing, we were going over my website, and they were like, "Oh, I love this shot. I love that shot. What gear do you shoot with?" I said, "You have to realize that the most of the shots on my website were shot with gear that's 8 years old, 9 years old.
10D, 20D.
It's old. I mean, by
Yeah.
today's standard, nobody's gonna go shoot with a a D3, right? It's only like 12 megapixels. Like, oh, God forbid, 12 megapixels. Like, how could you do that? But you can't tell looking at the work,
Right. Right.
and that's kind of the point, right? Buy
Yeah.
gear when you need the gear. You know.
Love it. We love it. And then words of wisdom from Troy as we head into this year's shopping season. Save your money. Go buy a book. Take a workshop. Right.
Yeah, look, there's no amount of software, there's no amount of gear that's going to make a crappy photographer better.
That's right.
There's
That
none.
that's true.
So,
That is true. Though many have tried, Troy Miller. Many have tried.
yeah.
So, well, cool.
Yeah.
So, just to recap, the next week's topic for our critique is planes. The following week after
Airplanes.
that,
Yep.
airplanes. Oh, air. Yeah, thank you, because that's different. Airplanes for next week's topic. After that, abstract portraiture, and then after that,
Yes.
botanical. Botanical.
Yes.
All right. Well, cool. Any parting shots before we end this one?
Be safe. Right now, life's crazy, especially in California, in the US. Just be safe. I want everybody to come out of this so we can have wonderful arguments in person later.
Yes, please. The truer words were never spoken. Be safe, and we will see you guys, the members at least, next week or this Friday in our member mixer. And
Yep.
there may be keep your eye on the feed in TWiP Pro. There may be some experiments coming up that I'm going to need your help in. So you'll see about that, and I'll tell Troy about it after we hang up. So. All right, folks. Thank you for participating. Thanks to all the Raiders of the Lost Art that came in to support. Shu's gone, but thank you, Shu, for the support, and thanks to all the folks that are in the chat that showed up. Thank you for supporting.
Yep.
I love doing this. I get another therapy session every week. So we got this. I got the member mixer, to kind of balance the week and
Yep.
keep me sane throughout. I'm adding another one though. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. Sure. All right, folks.
All
We'll
right.
see you next time. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.
Take care, guys.